The Druids, often associated with myth and magic, remain a mysterious group in history. While popular culture portrays them as cloaked and hooded guardians of Stonehenge, the reality of who they were is quite different. Uncovering insights into the lost power of Europe's Druids has proven challenging due to the limited information available. The earliest accounts of the Druids emerged in the 4th century BC, although they likely practiced long before their beliefs were recorded. Linguistically, the term Druid is believed to have derived from the Gaulish word druids and the Latin word druidi, which translates to oak. In modern Gaelic, Druid is used to refer to a sorcerer or magician. According to legend, the Druids were learned members of ancient Celtic society, emerging in Europe and migrating westward towards Britain and Ireland. They utilized their knowledge of astronomy to construct cosmically aligned monuments, such as Newgrange and Stonehenge. The earliest written accounts of the Druids came from ancient Greek scholars, but it wasn't until around 50 BC that detailed descriptions of the Druids began to take shape. Julius Caesar, during his conquest of Gaul, encountered the Druids and provided a first-hand account of their practices. He described the Druids as members of Celtic society who engaged in sacred rituals, conducted public and private sacrifices, and interpreted matters of religion. However, their influence extended beyond the spiritual sphere, as they also served as judges in the Celtic legal system. The Druids operated under a hierarchical system, with a leader appointed through violence or democratic vote. Becoming a Druid was a complex process. Initiation into the Druidic tradition involved learning their beliefs and practices through oral transmission. Unlike other ancient cultures, the Druids did not have a written language, which contributes to the scarcity of documentation about them. Instead, young initiates were expected to memorize the teachings and traditions of their religion. The beliefs of the Druids included a belief in reincarnation and a fascination with astronomy and cosmology. They speculated on the relationship between the natural world and the realms of the gods. One controversial aspect of the Druidic tradition is human sacrifice. Caesar claimed that the Druids practiced human sacrifice, citing rituals involving the burning of criminals inside a wicker man. However, it is important to approach these accounts with caution, as Caesar had political motivations to paint the Druids as barbaric in order to justify his conquest of the Celts. Another Roman historian, Cornelius Tacitus, also described the Druids' rebellion in Britain and alleged grim sacrificial rites. However, there is limited solid evidence to support these claims, and some historians argue that the Romans may have portrayed the Druids negatively to further their own agendas. As Christianity spread across the Roman Empire, including Britain in the 4th century AD, the old nature-based beliefs of the native pagans and Druids started to decline. However, these old faiths were not entirely eliminated. Despite efforts by figures like St. Patrick to banish the Druids from Britain, the native religions persisted. When the Romans retreated in the 5th century AD, Britain fell into chaos as Anglo-Saxon invaders arrived, and the natives reverted to their pagan ways. Eventually, missionaries reintroduced Christianity to Britain, and the beliefs of the Druids and pagans began to fade. However, some monks sought to study and record these disappearing traditions, preserving some of their laws and beliefs in hagiographies and other documents. In the 8th century, Druids could still be found in Ireland, although they no longer held spiritual and legislative authority in Celtic society. Instead, they had been relegated to the role of sorcerers and wise men. The Druidic traditions experienced a revival in the modern era, with individuals and groups exploring and practicing aspects of Druidry. This revival focuses on reconnecting with nature, honoring ancient wisdom, and embracing spiritual and environmental values. In conclusion, the Druids remain enigmatic figures in history, with limited historical records to provide a comprehensive understanding of their practices and beliefs. Popular perceptions of the Druids often differ from the historical evidence, emphasizing the need for cautious interpretation. The Druids' true nature and the extent of their power continue to be subjects of exploration and speculation. The Druids have been historically depicted as creators of love potions and spellcasters, but there is much more to their story. In the 18th century hymn, there is a reference to seeking protection from the spells of women blacksmiths and Druids. Before the 13th century, the Welsh Druids were regarded as prophets and bards. However, by the 9th century, the Druids had largely disappeared from Britain, remaining forgotten for nearly a millennium due to the lack of archaeological artifacts and written documentation. The 18th century Druidic revival, led by William Stukeley, introduced the ancient Britons' supposed monotheistic religion to the public, sparking romantic notions and legends surrounding the ancient Celts. This revival extended beyond writers and scholars and embraced the values and customs of bygone eras through the Romanticism movement. Inspired by the writings of self-proclaimed experts like Stukeley, a new cult of Neo-Druidism emerged, incorporating elements of Freemasonry and Celtic imagery. The Ancient Order of Druids was founded in 1781, recognized as the oldest society of its kind, but not considered a religious movement. Instead, it focuses on values such as philanthropy and friendship. In Wales, poet Iolo Morgan declared himself a descendant of Iron Age Druids and began practicing rituals in public, inspiring others to join him and linking the movement to Welsh nationalism. Over time, this new religion crossed the Atlantic and took root in North America. Stone circles such as Avebury and Stonehenge became linked to the Druids in the 18th century, thanks to Stukeley's association. Modern Druids started visiting these monuments, asserting a sense of spiritual ownership. Stonehenge, in particular, became a focal point for Neo-Druids, New Age travelers, hippies, and pagans who celebrated the summer solstice there. Access restrictions by authorities led to confrontations, but eventually, prominent Neo-Druids secured limited access based on religious freedom. However, archaeological findings have cast doubt on the supposed connection between Stonehenge and the Druids. Stonehenge dates back to the Neolithic era, predating the earliest records of the Druids. There is little evidence supporting the claim that the Druids built Stonehenge or had a long-standing presence there. Many rituals claiming to be Druidic today are likely modern inventions. The true customs and practices of the ancient Celtic faith, including the Druids, remain largely unknown. While archaeologists and historians continue to study the scattered relics of this mysterious religion, the complete truth may forever be lost to time. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.